I have got a PhD in life. I'm spending my whole weekend in my pajamas and I'm not doing shit. You don't pay my bills or suck my dick. So like, what do I care what some random person on the internet thinks of me? New year, new me. You gotta have some fun. God, Tim, everything you touch just like is amazing. And I want to tell that person, no the fuck it's not. I'm only trying to make one fucking person happy, and that's Tim Castleman.
Hey, Sue, did you forget to pay the light bill at the place here? We're currently podcasting in the quasi-dark because unlike the street signs and the locations outside of where we currently are, inside, the lights are mighty bright, as they like to say.
Very bright.
So we've been teasing this now for, 2 episodes? This is our 3rd one that we've recorded. In country, as they would say if we were in the military. Before we reveal where we're at, why don't we talk about how we got here?
Okay. How did we get here?
You tell your story, a recollection, and I'll tell mine.
So when you say how we got here, how we
not
thought about this idea of
right,
coming here?
Yeah.
Okay, so, the beginning of the year, I had this down and out occurrence myself, I'm like, I'm feeling down, I need, and of course I live in New England. It's very cold there. I say I suffer from that seasonal disorder where
the sad disorder.
Yeah,
by
no
the way,
sunlight.
Real quick, if you do suffer from that, go to Amazon. Just type in "sad desktop light."
Yeah,
they make them for like $50.
Right,
they're amazing. I have one, and I just basically, to quote a porn phrase, blast my face with it.
I have one as well, but I don't, do anything porn related at all.
Porn related, yeah. So basically, what I do is I turn mine on and then I moan for 30 minutes, and then I feel much better. By the end of it.
They do work.
Yeah.
So, I would agree. So, feeling down and out, feeling kind of bummed. So, of course, I put the bug in Tim's ear. And, of course, sweet memories of our Vegas trip, that we did, I believe, last January, if I'm not correct. Let's start this year with a bang. Let's, we'll go someplace where we can be warm and, we'll talk about the business, of course, make plans for 2023.
Maybe record a few podcasts.
Absolutely, because the last time we were together was funnel hacking, where, of course, we recorded a bunch of podcasts, but...
Yeah, we'll let you guys in a little bit behind the curtain. Not like you won't realize this yourself, but in case you don't, I'll connect the dots for you. When we get together, we typically batch several podcasts because we catch up. This is our time. I mean, we text, but it's not like we get on the phone and really talk a bunch.
Right.
So this is our time to really catch up and, bring you guys in truly behind what's going on in life and business and everything like that.
Which I think is great. If a lot of people have work with people, right? Business people, and you don't get to see them face to face. And just like marketing events, it's so good to see people face to face, in this digital world.
Nothing beats that for sure. Like I make no judgment of the man either way, but Alex Hormozi, the $100 million offer guy. Great book. I think he's definitely, positioning himself as the next big guru, but he's got a ton of results to prove it, which is great. What was the point of sharing that?
Well, you're just saying being in person.
Oh, yeah. He built a whole business just on outbound leads, on call centers. And his thing was like, if I can make this work via the telephone, I don't ever have to worry about, Facebook going down, Google ads, suspending me. So he was just like, if I could make connection person to person, that's where the real power is. And he's like, the easiest way to do that's picking up the phone. So it's just interesting when you talk about communicating. And
I didn't realize
like
that was the basis of his thing.
Believe it or not, from the video I watched, and this may have changed, but they scraped all the leads for gyms just off the internet, so no lead cost.
Interesting.
And then they just call, and they have people like 3 different levels of callers.
Right.
And it's like you call 100 people, you're supposed to set 2 appointments. And extra. But his whole point was, everyone's like, well, how do I get this ad to work and all that? He's like, have you ever just called somebody and asked if it did that?
God forbid you call.
Yeah, right.
And he's super successful.
Yeah,
he's like top notch.
Yeah. Yes. So Sue breaks up, all right, as I found out today on Christmas, right?
Yep. My relationship ended on on Christmas.
Goes into sad girl season, as we all do.
Yes. Not only
breakup.
sad seasonal disorder, but super sad, Sue, because of the breakup.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
double sadness.
Double
Yes.
secret probation sadness. Yeah, Sue. And she tells me, hey, we should get together in Vegas. And I'm like, I just came back from Vegas. First world problem, I know. I was like, I just don't really want to go there again.
Right.
And then about that time, my inbox starts filling with, Scott's cheap flights. It's now called Going. I don't know why. It's a horrible name change. But just type in Scott's cheap flights. You can sign up for free. You can pay them I think it was like $50 a year. And they'll tell you all the flights that are leaving out of your local airport or your nearest major airport. And, cheap flights.
Mm-hmm.
Scott's cheap flights. You got it. Good. And I got one about Spain. And I was like, well, let's see. Last time I was in Spain, COVID broke out. And I had to take an emergency last-minute plane ride. And then I had to get, the whole hermetically sealed search upon arrival. And all.
Didn't you have to go from Spain to Mexico?
I went to Panama.
Right.
Yeah, because I was like, I didn't know where I was going to be able to, I didn't know where and how the world was going to unfold. And I was like, I don't want to be stuck in this Airbnb that had nothing in it. Nothing to distract me in Spain. So I was like, God forbid, if I do get stuck someplace, at least this is warm, tropical, and super God forbid, I could pay a coyote to smuggle me across the border into some American continent and me holding my American passport as they shot everyone else and be like, Americano, Americano, Americano. And luckily that didn't happen. But I was like, ooh, maybe we go back to the scene of the crime. Maybe we do that. And then I wish I could tell you what planted the seed in my head, but I was like, instead of Spain, what if we went to a different location, a location that isn't often, if ever, thought of
Never.
For American tourists to go to? I think I've known 2 people that have actually come to this location.
I don't think I've known anybody.
Yeah, and I only know them because of a mutual hobby that we once shared.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, I clackety, and I've suddenly bought a plane ticket to parts unknown without telling anybody, by the way. This is just like a random Tuesday at 11 a.m. I'm like, all right, well, and again, I had told myself, Tim, January, February, month, we're going to be a monk. We're going to stay home. We're going to be boring. We're going to get to work. Click, clack, now I'm getting on a plane. So then I'm like, well, shit. I've already committed a crime.
Yep,
I need an
committed.
accomplice, if you will. And I need one that's really good at Airbnb hunting and things to do hunting.
Sign me up for that.
And all the worrying that I don't do, she'll do for us, which is great. Because
I have
she
an
thinks
award for worrying.
She thinks of practical things like, hey, are we going to be allowed to use money at this location? Or what's happening here? So I reach out to Sue. Now, without revealing the location, Sue, when you first heard, because I think all I did was send you a screenshot of my plane ticket or something like that. So I let you know, hey, I'm already headed in this way. But when you first saw that, what did you think?
So I'll be honest. I was like, okay, that's different. And then, in my mind, I immediately thought, so Tim loves to travel, which I know and love. And I'm like, okay, that must be something on his list. And I also didn't realize how there would be some intricacies that would go along with this travel trip. That wasn't first on my mind. It was more like, I was like, because there were other places I was thinking, no lie. I was like...
Well, yeah, I mean, of all the places, if you would have put 1 through 10 on the list, this would not have been anywhere on there for me
20.
or for you.
Definitely would have been on it for me.
No, I mean, I wish I could say there was more forethought into it, but it really was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
There's cheap flights there. Oh, let me check from Boston to, hey, even cheaper flights.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then maybe this could happen.
Cheap, maybe. But you know what? Being the trooper that I am, I'm like, if Tim's going, I'm going. I'm just like, can't wait to get out of Dodge. So I did my own clickety-clack, and then boom. It was very easy.
She got her plane ticket, and then we started looking for Airbnbs and finding places to stay. And that's when things started getting interesting.
Yes.
Because you can't just come to this country as an American.
Yeah.
You got to jump through some hoops, if you will, which is surprising given how close it is
Very surprising.
to America.
Yes.
In fact, there are people probably every day that try to make that journey
I'm sure.
from where we're at
Right.
to the good old US of A.
Very close.
Yes, yes. So we find a place and we go, you know what? Let's book it. Let's get it. We'll figure out the rest when we're there or on our way there.
True. Yep.
And then we said, oh shit, we're going to fucking Cuba.
Fucking Cuba.
Cuba.
Who goes to Cuba?
Viva la revolution, right? We are broadcasting live to tape
That's right.
from Havana.
Live from Cuba, folks.
Live from Cuba. So you may be thinking, well, how the fuck do you two Americans get to Cuba? Well, you got to tell them you're coming to support the Cuban people, which we are.
Which we are,
And
for
guess how
sure.
we're doing that? The wall that I'm knocking on that's solid concrete and you can't hear me knocking on is an Airbnb. And when you rent it from a local, you're supporting the Cuban people and the Cuban economy.
Yes. And even these cervezas that we're drinking now
These $2
are
cervezas.
supporting the Cuban economy.
Yes, 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 yes. And anything that we would do in country, like what we did today, supporting the Cuban economy.
Indeed.
So
Which we're happy to do because
Cheap-
they need our support.
decently cheap flights, cheap Airbnb. You'd
Very
pay
cheap,
what,
yeah.
what you'd pay for 2 nights at a nice hotel. We got this thing for 8 days.
Right.
And we were like, we're off. Let's do it. So
Mm-hmm.
I always like to use Airbnb. I don't know why. I just feel like if there's a corporate overlord, if something goes wrong, I can complain to someone at corporate and go, hey, there's an issue. Help me
Yeah.
out here. When I got stuck in Spain, they were nice enough, Airbnb, to work with the local host to get me my money
Yeah,
back.
I agree.
You know,
I
so,
love Airbnb too, and we have all the space.
yeah. So,
you know.
and that's the thing. We're not staying at a resort, although we did look at them, but they weren't that great
Yeah,
for the
they
money
didn't
that they
have great
wanted.
reviews.
And I feel this is much better because I'm putting money into a local
That's right.
person's pocket here.
Who was very nice. The
Also
hostess
happens to be
was
married to a
wonderful.
photographer. Didn't
Yeah.
know that ahead of time, but that's always good. So we decide we're going to take the trip, and then it's like, well, shit, we can't just sit in the casa, right? See how my Spanish is developing on one day on boots on the ground. We have to go out and do some things. So if you're wondering, oh my God, do you fly under like the cover of darkness, and do they have like armed guards on the thing? It's like any other. If you did not know you were flying into Cuba on the airlines, you would not know that you were flying to a place that is, got an embargo currently with the United States, and apparently isn't on speaking terms with Russia.
Should we
either.
talk about the process, about the visa, and then you get to the airport, and then
Let's give all the up-to-date
So if
information.
you're wondering about Cuba, now I find the whole thing interesting, because we were doing all this research and.
Cuba, by the way, the size of Tennessee.
Yes.
According to Google Maps, it's about the size of Tennessee. If you're wondering how big.
So in Miami, Florida, Miami, they're very helpful there. You have to fill out a form, easy peasy, to get a travel visa. As of this recording, $100.
Yep.
That was very simple.
And to be clear, you can use, and it has been accepted everywhere, American money
Yes.
and euros.
And euros.
So
Yep.
some people will tell you, oh, you got to switch it over to Cuban dollars. If you're an American, don't do that because Cuban dollars only work in Cuba. And if you leave with Cuban dollars, you will forever have
do
Cuban
not leave
dollars.
with Cuban dollars. And you cannot use your credit card here.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Yeah, no, I'll go to the ATM. The fuck you will. No, you will not. You will not do that. Oh, I'll make a phone call. No, you won't.
Yeah, you won't.
No.
Yeah.
You can at $2.99 a minute.
Right.
And what was it, 50 cents a text? Sending in?
50 cents a text.
And for you internet nerds, $2.99 per megabyte of data.
So we're using, that's another reason this Airbnb has Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Which has been okay.
Which is the
you know.
slowest fucking Wi-Fi known to man by American standards. Super probably high speed and fast
Probably,
for Cubano standards. Because
Right.
things are a little different here.
A little different, a little slow. It's like you're stepping back in the time.
So we take the flight, right? It's obviously not direct, so we got to stop in Miami. We get the visa.
You get the visa,
Yeah,
which was
super easy.
it's super easy. You fill it out at the gate, basically. Visa, like a piece of paper.
Sue had a chance while we were there because we had a little delay in boarding to check out the American Express
Oh man,
Centurion
I can't wait
Lounge.
to go back there, Tim. That was a treat.
We may be praying for a delay. Yeah, for sure, to go
Yeah.
back in there. Yes. Once you get to the point in life and business where you're using credit cards, for your business spend and all that stuff, look into the American Express Platinum card because it does give you quote unquote free lounge access to any Centurion Lounge
True.
in the world. And there's one in Dallas, and there's also one we found
Right.
out in Miami.
Eric, remind me to remind Tim to put me as a co-conspirator on this card.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
That was fabulous.
So I'm curious because you'd never been to that before.
Never been.
What'd you think?
I thought it was amazing. It's beautiful.
So just for people who don't know, you got to go up, right? When you go up, you got to give them a copy of your plane ticket, or you got to show them your plane ticket. You got to show them your card, and you got to show the ID so that they can verify that all.
Right.
They put that in their little computer system because they're going to keep track of that flight for you now. And if there's a change, they'll let you know, and then they go, welcome.
Yep. So I think they had a masseuse.
You walked right in to the left. There was a full spa.
Which
there was someone
we
getting
did
their
not have
nails
time to
done
do,
there.
but I would have, yeah.
Yep.
Like we literally had Tim's like, yeah, we get time.
We
like,
had 15 minutes,
yeah, like
and we were
15
like, all right,
minutes.
let's do it. Yeah.
So we went up. They had a beautiful spread of like salad and chicken and.
They do fresh cooked meals 3 times a
fresh
day
cooked
there.
meals.
They
had a
keep it
bar.
hot. They have a bar that's totally complimentary,
Yep.
but you better tip if you want to get that second drink, which is totally understandable. They have a family room, so if you got
that's
noisy
right,
kids,
too.
you can
Yep.
just put them in there and it's nice and quiet. I mean, it's the greatest thing ever when you fly to just be
Right.
like, I don't want to be down here with the bridge and tunnel crowd, or there's a delay and I need to get the fuck away from these people, or I just want to relax. You can totally go do that there, and it's well worth the ridiculous amount of money they charge me a year to be a member, for sure.
It was very nice.
Yes, and then we run back. We don't run back. We walk back to the plane because we have plenty of time, and we turn the corner and there's nobody.
There's nobody at the gate.
And there's one lady at the
and she's like, "Are you on this plane?" She's like, "Where have you been? It's a bunch
we're
of
doing
clothes."
final boarding, and we're like, "Oh shit, okay."
Yeah, but luckily we had our visa.
Yeah.
So we get on there. So we get on the plane. The plane was like half empty easily.
30.
Right.
Now here's what's funny. The same plane that brought me from Dallas to Miami was the same plane taking me from Miami to Cuba, taking us to Miami to Cuba, right? This thing was jam-packed on the flight from DFW to Miami. 30 people on it.
Yeah.
So we walk in, and that's the other thing is because we booked our tickets separately, we didn't have seats together. So we're walking, and she goes, "Hey, don't worry about it. 26 A and B."
She wanted us to go way in the back.
So we're like, "Okay, cool. There must be one empty row on this plane, and this is the one, and we're going to get it." We get on the plane, 30 fucking
there's
people.
like nobody on the plane.
So I stop and I go, "Excuse me, stewardess, there appears to be, 197 open seats here. Can we sit here?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You can't do that.
Yeah,
This
she
is
wouldn't let us sit
This is
there."
for our Cabin Plus
Yeah.
customers." Now, ladies and gentlemen, the door is closed. We're leaving.
Like they're literally ready to taxi away.
You can't sell these seats.
You think she would have just said, just sit there?
You know what, sir? Yeah, I don't want to get fucking punched in the face today. Sit there and enjoy. Sorry for all the bullshit we did to you on COVID. Hey, I know it's a down economy, and Southwest just fucking shit the bed 2 weeks ago, and we could do everything with our power to gain market share by being super awesome to you, especially in a situation where no one's going to give a fuck. But no, sir, you must go sit in
she was ruthless.
in your assigned seats. And we were just like, all right, okay. About a 40-minute flight?
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, I mean,
very quick.
Put it to you this way: no drink service.
We didn't even
no,
get a drink.
No,
It was like
no. That's something that American I notice is doing. If it's under an hour, they're like, "Yeah, we're not doing a drink service on this.
Yeah.
You can go get it yourself." It's like, I can't wait for probably 5 years in the future when they're like, "Oh, Mr. Castleman, you need to fly the plane." And you're like, "What?" We're like, "Yeah, we don't put pilots on this thing anymore.
Yeah.
You figure it out." It's like, "Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate it." Yeah, Yeah. So we get here. Now, our Airbnb host, she's amazing. She goes, do you need a taxi?
I think we should talk about what happened in the airport when we get to the airport.
Oh, yes. I totally forgot about that. Thank you. Thank you, Sue.
Yeah. So we get off the plane and we get into this line where these like, I don't know, kind of little old ladies are sitting in these little, wooden tables, and they're like, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what they were saying.
They look like your abuelo, right?
People were showing their phones, and we didn't have this whatever form. So they hand us this.
Hold 1 second. Let's go back. So we get our travel visa in Miami.
Yeah.
And we go, hey, this all we need?
Yeah,
yes, sir. That's all you need. $100, fill it out.
Right.
A and B, arrivederci. That's all. They don't make an announcement on the plane. They don't say anything different. So we have our passports. We have our Cuban passport, our travel thing.
Yep.
We have our flight tickets, and we're like, hey, we're good. We have everything the airline has ever given us or told us we need to bring in order to get into this country.
Right.
Until we meet with the Abuelo Society.
Yeah. It was like these funny little wooden tables. These little ladies, they obviously didn't speak English, of course, but we were like, what do we need? What do we do? And
we just walk up, we hand them it, and she's like, and she points to the piece of paper, and we're like,
right.
No, didn't give us anything.
We don't have that.
She's like, pointing at it again, like, oh shit, you need to fill it out. So we go to fill it out. It looks like the original copy is probably in a museum here somewhere, and they've just been making a paper copy of a paper copy of a paper copy ever since.
So faint.
It's 100%
line
in Spanish.
Yep.
There's not even like an English "let's help you the fuck out" translation.
Right.
On some of the things, most of it, it's just like, oh shit, this is what fill this out.
Right.
So Sue and I are there, with our makeshift table, aka our backs, trying to figure out
Good thing we carry pens.
Yeah, what we're supposed to put and all that shit. And if the Cuban officials are listening, we filled that thing out to the best of our abilities to give your team of crack medical staff of 80-year-olds the utmost security and respect and all that. To the American speaking, I don't know what the fuck we put on that form. We filled it out to the best of our ability. If they ever try to find us, they're never going to be able to, because I have no idea what that form was, how it was, or anything like that. But we pass them. We walk back up.
Slaps it on her little one table. Gives
Good,
us a thumbs up.
good. Thumbs up and a good.
Probably ended up in the trash later.
Yeah, they probably shred them. She's probably like, I get $1 for every one of these I turn in. Or an egg. I don't know. So we're like, okay, hey, that wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad.
Now we're going to go up to the customs people.
Yes.
Show them the rest of our stuff, the stuff that we've already got out, our travel visa, our X, our Y, our Z. We do that. Sue and I go up as a couple.
Yeah.
And they go, oh no, ma'am, over there to her, right? They do that with me. They didn't ask any questions, I don't think, or anything of me. And he's looking through it and all that stuff. And he's like, okay, just, he's like, wait 1 minute in the line over there. And there is a line to get in. And I thought, well, maybe I can't go from A to B because the front area is really packed. So I was like, maybe there's too many people there. That's fine. I look over at Sue. The lady's like, walk right on through.
She's like, go ahead.
Yep.
I'm like, can I just wait here with him? They don't know.
No,
you go.
Go for it.
They made me go.
Right.
Yeah, past the fancy door.
And Sue is waving at me. And as she's doing that, my asshole is puckering just a little bit, right?
In the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm on this side.
Yep.
Literally, this side of the border.
She's already
Tim's on that side.
She's a Cuban resident. I have not been allowed into the country.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
And I'm thinking, did my ex-wife make a notice? And that was the other thing, is that I'd asked Sue, and not because of my ex, just because I didn't want to keep it quiet. I didn't tell anybody. In fact, a lot of my family and friends are learning about this trip while I'm already on it. That's how few people I told about it.
Right.
And I did that because I did not know what to expect. I've heard horror stories of you going to a country and they're like, what's your name? And they search your social media and all that. Yeah. So I was just like, I don't know. I'm not trying to, in typical not Tim fashion, I'm not trying to blow this shit up. Like, we'll just kind of do that. And I'm thinking, fuck, okay. What's happening here?
Yeah.
So 5 minutes go by and I look at him again. He's like, just wait. And I'm like, okay, great.
Yep.
And then about 10 minutes later, a dude walks up to it, grabs my passport, hands him the travel visa, walks away. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, you stay right there? I'm like, yeah, sure, man. I'm not fucking moving. I'm too busy pissing my pants to make any sudden movements, right? And I honestly, there was a time when I thought, fuck it, you know what? I'll just walk through there and join Sue. And like, what are they going to, and I was like, they'll shoot me. It's Cuba. They'll shoot me
Right.
if I do that. So this guy comes up and he looked, I swear to God, he looked like a passenger. I was like,
He did
this
look
guy,
like a passenger.
this guy was behind me and he was a passenger. He had like a FUBU shirt
Yep.
on and like regular civilian clothes. He's like, Mr. Castleman? I'm like, yeah. He's like, bienvenidos, welcome to Cuba. I'm like, thanks. He starts talking to me Spanish and I just like give him the universal shake in the head like, dude, my parents made me take French and not Spanish when I was a kid. I'm sorry. And he was like, oh, English only. Okay. He switched and then he wanted to know, why are you coming to Cuba? To support the Cuban people. Where are you going? To Havana. Where else are you going or planning on going? Nowhere else. Did you bring any gifts?
Any gifts
for the Cuban people? And I was thinking, like, is this where I bribe you? Like, is this? Well, I'm supposed to look at my passport and put a 20 in there and be like, amigo, enjoy.
Just for you, buddy.
Yeah, just like, what the fuck? I was like, no, I don't even know any. I mean, we don't even. It's fucking Cuba. No one comes here, right? We are here. Maybe this is why no one comes here. And then he goes, how much money do you have with you? And I'm like, am I about to get robbed? Because that's the thing, right? There's no bank. There's nothing. If we ran out of money here, we would be fucked.
We would be screwed.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to find someone in America to like wire transfer us money to like, well, I wouldn't even know how we would do that. But so you have to bring every dollar you want to spend, and you're like, oh, well, that's cool because I can, have Uber, not here. Oh, they have this app, not whatever app you're thinking of. No gracias here. Yeah. Even the ones we downloaded, you can't even verify.
No, nobody speaks English. Hardly anybody speaks. It's very hard to find someone that speaks English.
So the guy finally gives, okay, thank you very much. Have a great time. We get to go through there. Then we go wait and we go through customs. We've gone through customs. They x-ray our bags. They stop me and they go,
oh, yeah.
Senor, we need to look through your bags. Now, I tell you that to tell you this. A week ago, I said, Sue, I know we're going to record podcasts while we're there. Mm-hmm. We have this really fancy podcast set up called 2 mics and a Zoom H4. Maybe I should get something even smaller and less suspect in case, they have any issues with it. And Sue, being the loving friend that she is, goes, yeah, I support your technology addiction. You could totally get it. And I go,
totally
you know what,
do.
Sue? You're right. It's overkill. I'm probably making a mountain out of a molehill. I don't even need to worry about it. It's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, what are they going to say?
She grabs my fucking backpack and she goes, do you have microphones in here? And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. I'm like, yes, I do. She goes, open it slowly. I'm like, okay. So I've got to dig this out. And I'm expecting to dig this out, to open it up. They go, oh, thank you. And now this has become part of the Cuban Revolutionary Army.
Yeah.
And to their credit, it didn't, something triggered it, though. And we're like, oh, shit. So We've had the frustration with the Abuela Society, right? I got the old pat down. I didn't get a pat down, but I got the additional screening measure at the border to get in.
Yeah.
We got in what must have been the slowest line ever. All 4 of them to get there, and we're like, thank God we carried our luggage. We don't have to wait for them to do it. Luckily, our Airbnb hostess has been so amazing for us, and she set up a taxi, and all we have to do is walk out there, and there'll be someone with our names on a little marquee, and we'll just walk up to him and be like, hola, hola. He'll hand us a cerveza. We'll get in the back of his vehicle, and we'll make the drive here. It's going to be fantastico. Except none of that happened.
No.
We get out, big area, huge area, hundreds of people, lots of people with signs looking for people. We do the up walk, we do the down walk. We do it up again, we do it down again. About the 3rd time I realize, oh shit, there doesn't appear to be someone to pick us up. And more oh shit, we don't have any way to communicate because our phones are dead. The cellular data welcomes you. It goes, bienvenidos to Cuba. 50 cents a text, $2.99 a minute phone call, and $2.99 a megabyte. And we're like, oh shit, okay. So I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, all right, well, luckily they have taxis there. So we walk up to someone, and I'm like, taxi? Yeah, fine, okay. We get in the vehicle. Well, First, he walks us to the taxi area. Then we have to say no to 8 taxis that are trying to pick off his fare. Then he comes up,
right.
puts us in another one. Super
Yep.
nice guy. And he goes, where are you going? And I'm like, oh, not a problem. I've got a screenshot of the location. I'm
Yep.
super happy. Here you go. Check it out. This is where we go. And then he goes, oh, okay. Oh, what's the cross street?
Oh, yeah, the cross street. They're
And we're
big
like-
cross streets around here.
we're
We're
like,
like, what do you mean? We don't
What?
know.
Like, okay, let me, Americano, no Spanish. Here's all I have. This is the one piece of documentation. This is where I know we're going. And he's like, yeah, I don't know where that is without a cross street. And I'm just like, well, we're at an impasse here because I don't know where the fuck it is either because you see, I don't live in this country.
Right.
Although how beautiful it may be, I don't live here. I don't understand your fucking streets. And we understand them even less at the end of today. But short story long, we were able to find our place. We were, and through the kindness of strangers, we're on the back half of this apartment complex. So we're walking
that's
down
right,
this hallway, and I see a lady just literally sitting in her house, like surfing the internet.
Right.
And I'm just like, hola, señorita. And I hold my phone up there like I'm trying to make a love connection.
Yeah.
And she looks at it and she's like, oh, one more down. And we're like, okay, great. So we go one more down. Next enigma. Everything is locked up here. For
Right.
being a free country,
They're big on the locks.
Yeah, there's a lot of cast iron and wrought iron for sure. So we hit the button. Our lady lets us in, and this is probably 9:00 at night, and I don't know what it was, but the second we got in here, man, my body was just like,
Oh, my God.
done.
I'd been up since like 5.
Yeah,
I was
I've been up
exhausted.
since 8, which,
Yeah.
again, quit bragging. I know that everyone's like, oh my God, I get up at 6 o'clock. Good for you. I don't. Right? So this was exhausting. But we're like, oh, okay, it's fine. She's telling us where we should go, how much money to exchange, et cetera, et cetera. She's like, yes, there is AC in the facility. And we're like, fantastic. She's like, in the bedrooms only. And we're like, okay. And actually, what's funny is we walk in and there's a fan. You might even hear it in the background here. There's a fan. And I was like, I swear to God, if that's what they meant by AC,
Oh, yeah.
I am going to get a customer comment card and I'm going to be a Karen, right? Luckily, that wasn't it. There is AC in the thing. But she
Thank
basically
goodness.
tells us, okay, here's the bathroom. You don't flush the toilet paper, which I was like, that gross, but okay. I was just like, that's weird as fuck, okay. Here's this. Here, basically, here's how everything should work, but here's how it really works in Cuba,
Right.
Oh, and don't worry, we have waters and beers stocked fully for you.
Lots of water and beer.
And it's only $2.50 for the water and
Yep.
$1 for the beer. We were like, oh, okay, interesting. So we do all that, and it's like early to bed, early to rise, because we had a big day today.
Oh,
and that big day was that we were going to do a 3-hour walking tour of Cuba, a food tour, where we're going to get to sample the local cuisine sold on the streets like a Cuban citizen. And we're like, fuck, what a great way to learn the lay of the land, check it out, enjoy
Yep.
ourselves, and have some of the most amazing food that probably have ever touched our lips from a culinary perspective. Mwah. So that's what the expectation was. Sue,
Well,
tell them about today.
okay.
And while you do that, I'm going to run and grab a water.
Yeah. So first of all, getting a taxi is not the easiest thing in the world. It's hard to get I think we finally ended up getting, we tried to download like the Cuban Uber type app, which, oh, that's right, because they were trying to, it didn't work, long story short, it didn't work. So we finally...
Let's tell them why. Because if you're ever thinking about coming here, get the apps ahead of time and verify them.
Yeah.
Because you could open the app and you could order and request the thing, but then they go, well, we need to verify your phone number. And because it's an American phone number, you can't verify.
Yeah, exactly.
So do that back home when you can verify it. And you got screaming fast Wi-Fi or wherever you're coming from,
Right.
For sure. So we can't. We got a 10 a.m. meeting time in a country that we've never been to at a location we don't fucking know.
Right.
And we can't get a car, and it's like 20 minutes till.
Yeah, it's not close by. We couldn't walk there.
Yeah, it's 5 kilometers. I
Right.
believe. Yeah.
So I think we finally got it. We contacted the nice Airbnb lady, And she's like, oh, I'll send a car over.
Yeah, because she is part of a company that runs tours.
Right.
And she was like, yeah, I have drivers. I can definitely get you a driver over there. And we're like, oh, thank you. Yeah, we'll send a taxi right away. In fact, I think she said, oh, he's practically there by the time we walked out.
Yeah. So this...
Real quick, tell them how we have to log out of this place every day. As far as there's what 4 locks on that fucking
and the
door,
codes and all the keys, and they like to lock things up around here.
Look, it's a math equation every time you come in and out of the building. Yeah. It's a sobriety checkpoint that you may not pass.
It's one of those escape rooms, you know. So we get out. This very boxy looking vehicle shows up. This older gentleman. Who's he wasn't smoking a cigar, right? But he was smoking something.
And it wasn't something good. Yeah. And he had been smoking it approximately 43 years.
So we literally get into the back seat, and the front seat is just filled with smoke. You know? Did you notice that?
Yep.
So, and he's like... Yeah, so he clearly didn't know where to go. We're thinking, of course he would know where to go because she sent him here to bring us there. And he's asking for the address, clearly frustrated. The poor guy thought he was going to have a heart attack.
Because he doesn't speak English and we don't speak Spanish.
Yeah. We couldn't communicate, and Tim's trying to show him, you know.
And all we're getting back from him is no.
Yeah.
No, and like a hand wave. And,
the hand wave, and then finally he shuts the car off. Yeah, he's getting so aggravated.
And that's the thing. Sue is being nice here. Okay, we get into the vehicle. We sit in the vehicle like plumes of smoke come up out of the back, and that the headliner is orange. Practically like
so disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, within 10 seconds, Sue's rolling down the windows.
I can't
because
breathe.
That's the other thing, is we're just idling, okay?
Yeah.
And these cars are from the 50s and 60s. There's no smog check. There's no pollution check.
No.
There's nothing.
Clearly not.
So we're sitting in not only the fumes of the, past 100 generations of cigar smokers and cigarette smokers in that vehicle, but also the petro is just boom, 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 into the cab. Yeah, I mean, I had a headache within 10 seconds. I was like, oh,
lungs.
fuck. Yeah, and again, then because he gets frustrated and doesn't know where we're going, he just shuts the fucking thing off. And we're like, no, we have to make a thing of, we got to make progress. We got to, and I'm trying to fucking meme Spanish with him and point to the thing. He's like, no, everything. I get the GPS navigation up. No, I get up a text message. No, I get up and there's fucking nothing.
I can't believe he wouldn't follow the GPS navigation.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's right there on the phone.
And
just follow the arrow.
And the bigger thing is, he goes, where are you going? We give him the official name of it. Doesn't help. And again, I'm like, well, the lady who called in the taxi knows where we're going, because I told her she should have told you, because she also knows that we're Americans and we don't speak in Spanish.
Yeah, that gentleman clearly did not enjoy his job. I just we finally started going. Oh, I think because he called her.
Yes, and that was finally the thing. Then he finally called, and I was like, well, fucking, you had that in your back pocket the whole time? You could have just called from the beginning and been like, hey, these fucking Americans don't know where they're going because they're Americans and don't live here. He finally drove us around.
Finally.
Not saying shit to us, seeming pissed off the whole time.
Yeah, he seemed very angry.
Even had to drive us around, asking for something the whole time we were there.
Oh, I have no idea.
And it was like, let me try this app. Yeah. Nope, wave it away. Nope. And the third time, he just fucking did the double wave. Like, don't even bother me with your fucking terrible existence, you worthless piece of shit, is basically how I felt.
Poor Tim is like, hold on, too. You were being polite, too.
Well, I was trying to be nice, because I was like, I'm not trying to get locked up in a Cuban jail my first fucking day here. Like, I'm trying to be a gentleman and help this guy, clearly his last ride of forever before he gets retired. And we're just like, okay, all right, well, And they're like, okay, well, you're going to meet at this one location. So he drives us about 3 blocks away from that location. And he's like, you get out here, there. And he just points over there.
It's over there across the street. behind some
to a
shitty building.
humongous fucking building
Oh my
that
God.
is covered in scaffolding because it's getting a full renovation.
Yeah, like fencing around it.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, and it's like he's like, get the fuck out, and we're like, okay, and we're like, how much? And he's fucking trying to do a conversion thing between the three cell phones. I'm just throwing money at him until he hits the unlock button. I'm like, it was like a slot machine for our life. We were like putting coins in, and we're like, we're gonna hit fucking jackpot and make it out of this thing, and we did. $22 American later.
Rough. That was a rough ride.
We fucking escaped the gas chamber, known as his fucking vehicle. And then we're like, well, this is cool because the building's right there.
right
I'm sure we'll just
How
walk
hard can it be? It's right
over.
there across the street.
There's no direct side. Okay, well, we'll just take this sidewalk to this. And if we walk this way, then no. And basically, we walk around this fucking entire city block the hard way.
It's a
and
giant
the whole
block.
time, we're late. I'm thinking there's a group of 20 fucking people waiting.
That's
on
what
us.
I thought. I thought there was going to be a big group.
They had already left. They're like, up 10:05. Fuck those Americans. We're out of here. And again, no cell service, no texting, no anything. And everyone, by the way, they'll tell you on all the TripAdvisor shit. Oh, don't worry about it. Wi-Fi, it's good. I haven't seen Wi-Fi once outside of this building.
No Wi-Fi.
Just like you lying motherfucker.
Don't expect to communicate with anybody when you come.
Yeah, I had to make a post today on Facebook that was like, I'm not dead. I just can't communicate for the next 8 days.
Yeah, or bring someone with you that can speak Spanish. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, or maybe learn the language. If you have the time.
Yeah, because you can't even pull up Google Translate.
No.
Because the apps don't work.
Yep. And here's the funny thing: if you have an Android phone, like I could download the app to get the car here, but I couldn't verify my number. Sue could not even. It was like the app store is not available in this country.
Yep, I get an iPhone, and Eric, see, there you go. I should have kept my Android.
Yep. But so we make this fucking Olympic Village size walk. It's rolling on one block. And we're walking around, and I'm just like, someone will see us and be like, "There's a fat American. He's our guy. We need to talk to him, whatever it may be." And we see like someone just hanging out in the corner, and we're like, maybe that's it.
They look like maybe.
Yeah. And I was just like, Airbnb, and they were like, yeah, okay, great. And there's 2 people there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, there's one person only waiting on us. That's awesome. So we walk up, and she's like, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm I'll be your tour guide today. And then this is someone that's related to me.
Right.
They just, they're trying to learn English, and they may want to practice their English with you, but she'll be on the tour as well.
Yeah.
But she's with us. So I was like, okay. So it was just a private tour for us.
It was just the 4 of us.
And I'm like, this is amazing. 4 people, 3 hours, all you can handle street food in Cuba. I mean, this is just about to be the best day of our lives. And then our tour guide goes, now let me explain Cuba to you.
Yeah.
And this was very
Just
educational,
so you know.
and I probably will fuck all this up, so don't take a history test on it. But apparently, Cuba used to take all their sugar cane and basically sell it all to Russia. And then Russia was like, we'll give you everything you need to live in exchange for the sugar cane. Sometime around the 90s, I guess that stopped.
She kept saying that.
Yeah. Something happened. I don't know what it is. You do the research, put it in the comments.
Something happened in the 90s.
Yeah. Fidel told fucking Putin to lick his balls, and Putin was like, no mas, right? So all of the stuff that they used to get from Russia that would basically circumvent the U.S. embargo and allow to make life enjoyable and comfortable, gone. Then COVID hits, not in the same time, obviously, but then COVID hits, clamps it down even harder. So she goes, listen, Cubans' diets are primarily pork and chicken and beans. And because of all of this that we just shared with you, that she shared with us, pork is like 7 times as expensive as it once was, and has been practically taken off the market. Now, I know this has nothing to do with it, but it was the only thing that I could make this process in my head. Last summer, the price of brisket, even wholesale, was so expensive that restaurants in Texas were considering no longer serving brisket. That's a fucking staple.
Wow.
That'd be like McDonald's saying, hey, we're no longer going to do burgers.
Wow, okay.
Because the cost was so expensive. So that's what they've had to do in Cuba. Except, unlike America, they actually did stop serving it. They, it was one of those things. So she tells us basically, like, hey, not in a terrible way, not like a woe is me, but basically like, hey, our economy is fucked.
Yeah.
Well, food prices are ridiculous. All the little aftermarket markets and the black markets that used to be cheaper and more convenient, they're just as expensive, if not more expensive. It just didn't paint a great picture leading into it. And then she goes, okay, let's go to our first stop. And we walk approximately 5 steps to the right. And she's like, this is a cafeteria style place. And we're like, okay. She's like, they sell ready to eat, make shit like pizza, and it's very fast and it's very quick and all that. And she goes, she told us like the first thing that spun my head. She goes, in Cuba, there is no wholesale market. If you're a business owner, you don't go, hey, I'm going to go buy this shit wholesale. You just fucking, pay the retail price, and then you mark it up on top of that. So she was like, this is actually more expensive than most of the stores there. And it's all packaged goods. It's like nothing fancy. It's not like, oh, she makes these fucking sandwiches. It's like, yeah, all this prepackaged shit. It's the same shit, just even more expensive.
So we did not eat anything there. She's like, oh, you want anything? I think it was like pizza, pastries. And
it looked like, something. It looked like if you went to a 7-Eleven back in the U.S. and was like, hey, you want to get a fucking ice cream, out of the chest? And we were just like, we're good. I don't think this is the food tour. We're waiting for the food tour extravaganza, remember, that's coming up, right? So this lady, she worked for the Cuban government as a translator. Her assistant had just graduated college, all of this allegedly, because we didn't check facts, right? For all I know, they could have been, people to be with us to be like, what the fuck are these Americans doing here? Because we definitely got looks from people that were just like, what are these white people doing over here?
I'm pretty sure I'm the only girl in the entire country that has long blonde hair because...
Natural long blonde hair, yeah. Because there were some chicks...
There were some girls who clearly had dyed the hair, but I'm like, damn, I feel weird.
Yeah. So she's like, all right, well, you don't want that? Let's just walk around. And she told us great stuff. I mean, absolutely.
She knew her history for sure.
The reason I love doing these food tours, and I try to do on the first day of any time I go to a new country or a walking tour, everything, is you get the lay of the land. You get to kind of see around there. You get to experience a little bit of culture, and you get to talk to a local and be like, all right, fucking help me not look like such a tourist. Things to avoid, things to do, et cetera, et cetera.
She definitely knew her stuff. And she did tell us a lot of interesting things about, obviously, the buildings, the architecture, the history, and all that. We did a heap of walking. Tons of walking, right?
In the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And why do we have to walk in the middle of the street, Sue?
Why do we have to walk in the middle of the street?
Because people shit in the streets.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're on the sidewalks and all that stuff, then you have a good chance. I think we're going to say it was dog shit. We're going to say that there were a few spots. Yeah, we're going to just go with that.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. Did I mention that you have to throw the toilet paper in the fucking thing and not in the thing? Yeah, okay. Right. So we're walking there, and when people want to, pass, they just honk at you. It's no big deal. You just get out of the way and drive and all that stuff. She told us that the streets were intentionally made small so that at different parts of the day, when the sun hit, it would provide natural shade on one side or the other. And I mean, it was a beautiful day today, not humid, not superly hot. But I could not imagine it being 20 more degrees without any shade.
You'd be broiling.
Yeah, so you're just like, oh, shit, okay, cool. So we're walking down these different little areas, and they're showing us a couple cool other things I remember. Everybody waits in line for everything.
Yes.
She was like, a queue is everywhere. You want to go into a convenience store? Queue. You want to buy stuff from this shop? Queue. And you want to go get your rations? And I go, well, Tim, what year is this? Is this 2023? Did we get a podcast from 1956? No. This is today, current day. Once a month, they can go to a government store with their ration book, and they get...
So they get, 7 eggs per person per month. Then they get 1 pound of chicken, I think she said.
Per person. Per month. Yep.
I know she mentioned the oil, too, like 1...
I think you get 1 liter. I think it was 1 liter of oil. Yep. And what about the milk, Sue? Do you remember that?
Oh, all I remember was the kids get the milk, but once you turn 7, you're shut off. No more milk for you.
After 7, your body stops growing, and you
Yep.
don't need any milk for
Clearly.
development. And, by the way, this isn't like we'll go get your whole milk, skim milk,
Yeah.
oat milk, goat milk,
Right.
nut milk. This is
Powdered milk. Yeah.
Powdered milk.
Oof. Yeah, hard pass on that. But
And you're like, well, how do they survive? Well, they go to these other stores and they buy the rest of the supplies they need. Or they used to go to the black market, but now the black market really is no better than the regular market.
right. And then when you get your rations, you have to you bring your little
You have a
Yep.
rations book.
And you can only go in the area that you live in
Yep.
to get your
And
rations.
only once a month.
Only once a month.
Yep. And they I'll trick them. No, you won't, because they write it all down.
Yes.
Basically, yeah. I mean, they keep
keep in
records.
track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They definitely know when you've gotten yours for sure. So yeah, we're walking around. We're seeing all these places that people are stopping and all that stuff. And then she's like, "This place right here. This place makes the best sandwich that in Cuba and all that stuff." And we're like, "Oh, well, I mean, if it's the best, and this is a food tour."
Now this is probably like 10:30 maybe, and we hadn't eaten anything.
Yeah, because
yet.
again,
I hadn't even had coffee.
food tour.
Yeah, food
We
tour.
went with empty tummies, expecting them to be filled by the cornucopia that overflows, known as Habana, right? So we go up there. These are pre-made sandwiches, and they have just a press, a Panera press. That's basically what it is.
Right.
And they just press the sandwich, warm it up for you, and then give it to you. And it was a pork sandwich.
It was a pork sandwich.
And allegedly there was pork on that sandwich.
That's what she said.
But I could not see it. I don't remember tasting it.
I remember there was a pickle in
And
it.
yeah, big pickle. Big pickle. Yeah.
And then there were some little stringy pieces of pork, but they were kind of, I don't know.
I don't even know how to compare where you would get something like that in America. Like, not even McDonald's. Like, McDonald's would be higher class
I think you're right.
than this. And
Yeah.
again, it's not if anyone from Cuba is listening, especially Fidel or any of his people, like, this is not an insult. I understand what you're going through, but it just was like, oh shit, okay, cool. I mean, literally, if there was, a half an ounce of meat on that thing.
I didn't even finish mine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
like
took
this- yeah.
we took some polite bites, because you don't want to be rude. We gave them the old thumbs up, like we did the a lot of thumbs up today.
Yeah.
A lot of bueno, bueno, bueno. No bueno, but didn't want to say it. So we're like, oh, okay, cool, all right. Well, we stumble out of the gates, but we'll pull it around. We have no doubt. So we walk a little bit further, and then she goes, oh, you should have, what did she call those drinks we had?
I think at first she called them like juicies.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
pretty
you
sure
want a juicy? And I'm like,
Juicy.
I'm not 6, I don't want a juice cup, but like I am thirsty, so maybe we'll see. And she goes, oh no, they do live juices here. And you're like, oh cool, the pineapple. And they're like, it's funny, it's like, oh, pineapple in America, sort of pineapple in Cuba type thing. I forget what their
guava
equivalent.
maybe?
Guava,
I
something.
think,
Yeah, so we're like, okay, like I'll try a fresh juice. Like, sure, why not? We'll do that. So we go into this place. There's no place to sit down anywhere, or very few places. These are all tiny places.
Yeah.
By the way, most places are on the first floor, because that's where they can be kept and updated and all that stuff. But the rest of the house or the rest of the building is like in such disrepair. For instance, they had the Partagas factory. They roll cigars. That's closed because the building is in such disrepair that it's unsafe and uninhabitable.
Yeah.
And there's businesses like that. And you go, oh, these little small, huge buildings like that all over everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Where she'd be like, oh, that's what that used to be, but that's closed because of the building, because of this.
Building's falling apart.
Surprisingly, all the military installations look good. The Capitol looked good.
The Capitol building was beautiful.
Yeah, any
beautiful.
big official government building, beautiful.
Yep.
Anything else, not so beautiful. Unless it was a hotel, and the hotels are because they're joint operations between the hotel and the government.
Yeah, the hotels were beautiful. I agree. Yep.
Yeah. So we go and we have these juicies, which
Yep.
I don't know how they make them, But they came in like little milk. It looked like a little old-fashioned milk things.
Old-fashioned milk container.
And it's got, ice at the bottom. And it was delicious. I mean, it was
delicious.
Delicious, refreshing,
yes.
all of that stuff. But you're like, oh, okay, cool. So we've had a Cuban press sandwich and a juicy. All right, stop 1 and 2, right? Surely more is coming. No, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end. That's the end of our food tour, right there. Now, what they were nice enough to do and show us, and this was great. I'm saying all this to let you know, I was not disappointed. I'm glad I went. I'm glad we had a fantastic time.
Yep.
There's more we'll tell you about in a second. But what she was able to do was show us the different stores, and this is where you buy the food, and this is where you don't, and this, and these are private businesses. So it was really cool learning all of that stuff. But it was not an American expectation of a food tour.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, all right. And it was cool to see some of the markets where they sold, and you got to understand, everything here is primitive compared to everywhere else in the world. They don't have the equipment to be like, oh, we got bananas when they're not ripe, and we age them, and then we have bananas year round. It's like, no, bananas are out of season, so we don't have bananas. And you're like, when will you get them again? And they go, when they're in season. And you're like, oh, I mean, it's like that. I mean, it just really is.
So we went to that little market where we saw there was like a little. I bought I call them like the munch bars, little bars. They have like peanuts, and she's like, everything's sweet here, right?
The thing that surprises me is how sweet or how much sugar is in everything.
And then we saw that guy who had the cane sugar. He was putting into a machine.
Sue buys these little munch bars, basically, and they look awesome and stuff. How much were they, by the way? I'm curious. I didn't.
So she bought them. So I don't really know.
What would you guess? A few dollars?
A few dollars. Yeah, tops.
And then while we're there, I'm looking down at the end of the market, and there's probably, no exaggeration, 25 people.
Yeah, a lot of people
waiting
there.
on the inside and double that on the outside. Right. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And she goes, oh, that's a Cuban sugar press drink. It's made out of the pressing. Anyway, we watched that it's done, and they make this refreshing, interesting drink and all that shit. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool to try, except I don't want to wait 75 people in line. But I mean, literally, this was the most popular thing there. And she goes, oh, they're all over Cuba. Like, that's like a drink everyone here loves. And I'm just like, how the fuck are you drinking something that sugary with the weather being the way that it is? Because I don't know about you, but when I'm hot, the last thing I want is something that's super fucking sweet.
Right.
And it's like, okay, we going to bed? So, but it was cool to kind of check that out. And then the second part of the tour was a tour done by car.
Yes, so this driver was actually very nice.
Because I think he knows the tour lady or they're related or whatever.
And beautiful car that had been redone.
Yeah.
And
that's the other thing is all the cars over here, I'd say 95%, let me rephrase it. 90% of them are old, like 1950s vehicles that have been restored, and not like you're thinking, again, wherever you live, no, these have been resto modded to accommodate the locals. Like the speedometers are electronic. Yeah. They had air conditioning, where aftermarket, you're getting into a time machine.
Yeah, it was wild.
But inside it's got a CD player and all this stuff, and you're like, what the fuck? This is totally wild, totally crazy. Yeah.
So that was nice. We drove around a lot.
Got to see different spots and different things like that, and different locations.
We did a couple of stops. Yeah, we went to that cigar store.
Well, before we even get to the cigar store, let's talk about the 7 layers of hell she put us in right before that. I don't even know how the fuck was that the first stop we made? Maybe it was. I don't know. One of the stops we made.
Right.
She goes, "Hey, we're going to take you to the spot. It's the largest place in Cuba to get your souvenirs." Now I'm thinking, back to my Vegas days. I'm like, oh, it's got to be, one mega store. It's got to be a Walmart of store stuff to buy and all the stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. We'll stop by this one store. Look at the 3 shirts they got or whatever, and we'll andale muchacho on to the next one, right? Not so much. She comes in with us along with her, government spy, assistant, and they take us to a little coffee place, which was great.
Which was great.
Yeah, it was beautiful and fantastic. And I got iced coffee, and she laughed at me and goes, "Nobody from Cuba gets iced
Nobody
coffee."
drinks iced coffee.
And I was like, "Yeah, I don't give a shit." Like we didn't win 2 world wars for me to get coffee the way you wanted it, sweetheart. So she takes us to that, and then she goes, "Okay, we are gonna go sit over there and relax and wait. You take your time and enjoy yourself, 30 minutes or so. Why don't you just have a look around?" And the second she said that and disappeared, all the jackals and hyenas started appearing from the masses.
Want this story?
And I mean, what was it? 2 levels of stores,
2
probably.
levels. Yep.
600 stores, and
It was a ton.
these are like, imagine storage lockers, like what the fuck, like a storage self storage place. You walk in and they got a row of 20 different little roll up things. Well, that's what these are times 500. And there's 500 people there, and all 500 of them want you to come see their store with their goods. So each one of them acknowledges you, welcomes you in, and then God forbid you step over the threshold, they're your new BFF, and they're right on you.
Right on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Sue has people in her life that she loves and cares for. So she thought, I will be a good mom and I will get some souvenirs. And Tim thought, I'm going to let her be fed to the wolves and I will live to have a memorial podcast in her honor.
Right.
We saw some interesting things, nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, it was just like, do you want a Che Guevara shirt? No. Well, you're about to be asked that 500 more times.
And I really tried to get in and out of there because quicker. I really wanted the one place I could just buy everything. But,
And this was it, just divided by 500 people, you know, type thing. So we got some cool little souvenirs, and it really wasn't that bad. I will say what's different here than Mexico is that they'll acknowledge you, invite you in, and if you say no, they don't harass. That's it. They don't bug you. But like in Mexico, they'll be like, "Oh, come on!" Like they just really are insistent,
okay.
But here they're just like, "Nah, come in. No, okay, fuck you," And not to be mean, but they were just like, "Okay, there you go." But like even Sue, she bought 3 shirts from someone, and it was $50. No, it was 45, and we gave her 50 of euros, and she had to like go to another shopkeeper to be able to break that and get change. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. So we do that. It's fine. By the way, I should say that this building is on the water. Like you look out, and they have the things up, and you're like, oh, cool. So before she left, I was like, well, okay, cool, water. I was like, seafood, right? It's got to be around here all the places.
We're living. We're on an island.
Yeah, I'm not saying much, but if you gave me a pole, right, I probably could catch 1 or 2.
There was a guy fishing.
Yeah. I was like, I could catch you 1 or 2, and we would be okay. And she's like, oh no, seafood is not part of our diet.
Yeah, they don't eat seafood here.
They are surrounded by water, ladies and gentlemen. How the fuck is there not an ounce of seafood in their normal diets?
I'm just shocked at
She also mentioned, the restaurants. Yeah, those are for tourists and rich people. Most people in Cuba don't go to restaurants. So we're like, oh, okay, interesting. So we did that, and then she was like, we're going to take you to a cigar and rum place if you'd like. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Well, take me to Mecca. I want to go and check it out. What it turned out to be was like a La Casa de Habano store that sold this shit. And then alongside of it was Tourist Alley. Like, I mean, there wasn't a Cuban person except for the people that were serving.
All tourists,
they were all tourists, and apparently Canada's A1 tourist. I hope you guys are enjoying this history lesson of Cuba because we fucking went to school just to be able to tell you about it. Yeah. So we go in and out there. We see the prices. I go, no, thank you very much. We walk through there, and she's like, all right, we're going to go take you to go see a statue. And we're like, okay, cool. And they're like, yeah, it's over there. And I'm like, okay. They're like in a different bay. I'm like, okay, cool. And she's like, yeah, so we're going to go in this tunnel to get over there. I'm like, fine, that's fine. She goes, oh, and the tunnel's underwater. And I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. All of your buildings around here are falling down by their own admission, except for the government buildings, right? The streets, I mean, I've never driven or been on worse streets
they're bad.
Than here.
Yeah.
They're paved, but that's not saying much.
Right.
Yeah. And now you're telling me that we're going to go underwater by the same engineers that are taking care of everything else to go see the statue of Jesus, we might meet him on the way there. Yeah, we may see Jesus walk on water because I'm about to, because that's the only way we're doing it. Luckily, we made it through, went and saw this absolutely gorgeous statue of the big man, got to see the military academy, got to see, this and that. It was a very fascinating history tour without the food. That's the way that I would describe it.
Not a lot of food.
And had a great time. Would recommend anyone to do it. Had a great time. You just have to temper your expectations.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of day one, for me at least, has been, okay, I'll download this app. Oh, shit, can't do it. It's just a lot of, fuck, that doesn't work the way that we thought it would.
We're definitely getting used to just being like, okay, we'll wing it. We'll do our best. And I mean, I know for me.
So at the end of the tour, she goes, we can drop you down right where we were.
Right.
Or we can take you back to your Airbnb. And at this point, it's 120 degrees outside.
Yeah, we were ready to come
We're
back.
done, right? We've walked among the Cuban people. We've kissed the babies. We've petted the stray cats. We've done all the things. Mm-hmm. We're ready to go back there. And she's like, okay, let's go. We're like, great. And she goes, what's the side streets? And I do, just like it with the first guy, show the photo. And I'm like, this is all I fucking know about Cuba is this address right here. And she's like, yeah, that address doesn't really help us because everything is on the half street here. She tries explaining to us. My brain is mush. But, I don't understand what you're saying. All I know is
so weird.
This is the only way. And again, no cell phone, no internet, no texting ability to be able to hit our host up and be like, hey, here's a new question for you that we didn't get asked for before. And luckily they were able to find it. The three of them were able to combine and figure it out.
Yeah, so if you ever come to Cuba, you have to know the streets on either side of your street, apparently.
And you're like, well, that's not. Tim, how hard could that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
How hard could the map be?
Yeah, you go ahead and come on these mean streets of Havana and tell us how easy it is.
They don't have street signs here.
So they drop us off. We cool down. We do a couple episodes of the podcast, and then we're like, getting a little hungry. I'm getting a little hungry. Yeah. We could try to do and get this taxi again, or we could have mercy on ourselves and just find a place super close to where we're at so we can walk there, walk back, eat, no problem, no issues, good nightcap. So we go to this place, El Vampiro, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, Vampirino?
Vampirino, sure, yeah.
Something like that.
We go there, we have what they call was a burger. I'm going to not question it, Also, didn't ask us how we wanted it cooked, so hopefully no E. coli or mad cow disease going on in our stomachs right now. We eat, we have 2 cervezas, because that's what you do when you're an honorary Cuban citizen, and it's time to leave. And I mean, how difficult could it be, right? Because it was a right, and a right.
It was like a 10-minute walk, or maybe 15.
Yeah, I mean,
it was close.
It was 5 minutes, I think, 5 to 7 minutes. We're 3 rights, and we're there, and all that stuff. So, we've been here for 24 hours almost at this point. So, of course, we're natural with the streets. We know where to go. Yep. We know how to get there. We're going to just walk on back to the house, and we're going to take this street, and we're going to pass this thing, and then we're going to keep looking, and that doesn't look very familiar, and that doesn't look familiar, and actually none of this looks familiar because we weren't really paying attention. And even if you were, everything looks the same, and there's nothing on the walls and the streets and the this and the that. We're less than 5 minutes away from the house, and we're lost. We have no idea where we are. We're trying to pull up the same shit, different program. Trying to pull up the GPS, thinking, "Fuck, how are we gonna,
we
flag?"
have these 2 girls. They're like, "Oh, they don't speak
Then I'm
English.
like, you know what? Let's go to the people. Let's go to the people." So I pull up the screenshot again. 3rd time. It's one of these times it's going to fucking work for me.
Screenshot is useless.
I show it to them. They talk amongst themselves. They point one direction. We go 2 blocks that direction. We realize this is not the right fucking direction. We turn it around. We make a left. We make a right. Somehow, some way, by luck, we find our Airbnb.
Finally, thank Jesus Christ statue that we saw today.
Yes, because one of us not only has 0 sense of direction, but an incredible ability to worry about that lack of sense of direction at the same time that it's happening.
Somebody's got to do the worrying, Tim.
And I'm glad it's her, because I do the bitching, she does the worrying, and it meets in the middle type thing. Luckily, we were able to find that. We said, okay, you know what? We made it here. That's great. I was feeling fancy and froggy. I was like, you know what? Let's backtrack our steps around the block, and let's go get a cerveza at a corner store or whatever. We go over there. We take like 2 sips of it, and I'm like, you want to walk back to the Airbnb? And she was like, yes, more than anything in the world. I want to get out of these streets and back to the safety and comfort of 4-door locks, bars on everything. Where we sit in oh, by the way, they only get water pumped every other day in some parts of Cuba.
That's true.
The east side of it was never fully developed and still has never been fully developed, according to her.
You can't take the train there.
I can't take the train anywhere. And it would take you 16 hours by bus to get to the next major town.
Is that what you said? Yeah, 16 hours. Because the roads are so shitty, right?
Diva. Yeah, and I was like, what about a private car? She goes, not much faster because of the road condition. Yeah. I'm just like, holy shit.
So what an adventure today was.
Day one. Day one, ladies and gentlemen. Day uno. Sorry, uno. Uno day? I don't know. Yeah. So we sit here exhausted, 2 beers in a piece, all the water that we can drink. Water's $2.50 for a big bottle, by the way, here. Beer's $1 at the Airbnb. And I think we're going to celebrate by sleeping in tomorrow.
Oh, can't wait.
It's going to be so...
I totally could have slept in later today.
Dude, are you kidding me? Yeah. I was trying everything in my being to get her to switch to the 1 o'clock one. And thank God we didn't, because it'd have been 9,000 degrees. But it still would have been fucking amazing to sleep in, which we will tomorrow, because I will say, out of everything that we have bitched, the one thing that this thing has done right is you close that door, it's pitch black, don't care day or night.
Dark.
And do you want ice cubes coming out of that fucking AC? Because we got it for you, amigo, and we will do it, and it's great, and you have the best night's sleep ever. It's no complaints about that. Everywhere where they've skimped, that is definitely not one of them that you do. So, what a first day. Tomorrow we're going on a rooftop private bar.
Yes.
Which should be, I'm very interested to see that experience. And it's supposed to have amazing views and all of that stuff.
We're going to give ourselves at least 3 hours to get there.
Yes.
Because,
Yep, definitely. Yep. And definitely going to try and verify the app now. And, all the other shit we'll figure out. Which reminds me, I bet if we wanted to, the place we got the beers from today, we could walk over there and go, could you call us at the cab? And they would remember how she said they could do that? Or we can hit up our person, our Airbnb person.
Oh, okay.
Either way,
right.
We'll figure it out.
You got to tell her not to send that same cranky guy, though.
Yeah, I'm going to, Hey, listen, could you send us someone that's not a walking chimney, please? Yeah. What were your big takeaways from day one? I feel like I've talked a ton.
So again, what she was talking about, like with the rationing, and then they don't have water, and then she's like, or something about like, in case the electricity goes out, sounds like they can't count on electricity all the time.
Well, because you saw it was like a big, it looked like just a big plastic container, and you were like, oh, what's that?
Yeah, so they were everywhere. I kind of noticed, and so she's like, oh, they store the water in there.
And me being formerly from California, I was like, oh, that must be where they collect the rainwater, and then they do, like they that's how they keep the vegetation alive. Oh, that's very environmentally friendly. Turns out, not true.
No, because what'd she say? They only had water
every other day.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I can't even fathom that. I mean. It just is.
So they have these water reservoirs so that on the days when they don't pump water to you, that you just use the reservoir so that you can take a shower, do dishes, things of that nature.
Water is very important.
Yeah.
And then the street, and of course I was joking to her. I'm like, our streets are just as bad, but honestly, they're not just as bad because some of the streets around here are they're really bad.
Yeah, I mean imagine you're driving down a road and you're swerving to the left and the right, and swerving's a hard one. You're having to go to the left and the right to avoid different spots and potholes in every road. That's the thing, every single road.
Yeah. very bad. And even the sidewalks, when we were walking up and down the sidewalks, I mean, you have to pay attention, you know.
They're busted up, and
Yep.
and it's
twist
not.
your ankle.
We're probably hyping it up, and pointing out the negatives for a comedic effect more than anything.
Yeah.
I don't want you guys to think that's how it is here, because it's not, but it is something just to be aware of. And if anything, it'll make you appreciate where the fuck you live.
For sure.
I'm never going to bitch about what I perceive to be slow internet,
Yeah.
for at least 2 days after I get back. I'll be like, oh shit. So.
And even when we were walking around tonight, like I said, I'm just so not used to like you're lost or you need to know something. Pull out your phone.
Yep.
But as soon as we leave here, the phone is useless.
Yep. Can't do shit with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been a real learning experience for me.
Yeah,
I always think of that movie, with Kurt Russell, when he was Snake Plissken.
Oh,
Escape from New York, right?
Yeah.
At the end, everything is gone. They don't have anything anymore. You're screwed now. I'm like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Yeah.
Which I hate to, in a way, I hate to be so dependent on technology like that. But
Bill Burr used to have a great bit, which was he was just like, oh, y'all think you're big and bad? I fucking dare you to leave your house without your cell phone, make it more than 2 blocks without a full-blown fucking panic attack.
Yeah.
I'm just going to walk out of my house. He's like, yeah, you make it 2 blocks and then you're going to fucking freak out. And the thing is, it's like, well, I mean, you can freak out, but there's nothing you can do about it. After you're done freaking out, you still have to kind of solve the problem.
That's right. That's a good point.
For us, we just kind of look at it as an adventure. It gives us stuff to talk about on a podcast. And ultimately, we knew we weren't in any real danger.
Right.
But it is frustrating, especially when you're trying to find, especially at the end of the day, you're like, all right, I'm about to relax and take it easy.
It was starting to get dark and I'm a little hot and cranky. Just wanted to, not that, again, we knew we were safe and we would find it eventually, but. And that was the annoying thing. We knew we were so close.
And we were. I think we walked around this place every way but the place we needed to go.
Yeah.
And then once we found it, we were like, oh, shit, okay, got it. And now we know. Now we have our landmarks that will hopefully at least let us know when we're close by, for sure. So
too bad they don't use street signs.
Yeah.
So,
no street signs. You're like, oh, well, don't they have street signs on the corners? No, they have these basically stone little triangles, basically, is how I would describe them.
Yeah.
And they have the streets etched on them, but it's not like El Pollo Loco Street. It's like 6, 4, 2.
Yeah, it's just numbers.
Yeah, it looks like a D&D dice because it also has. And the thing that, these stones are, I don't know, 50, 60 years old. They don't refurnish it. Yeah. I mean, it was a nightmare. All things considered. It was a nightmare trying to figure it out, but we got here. We enjoyed our first day. We have an even more exciting day 2 in store as soon as we start yawning and get some sleep. And we're just making the best of this. And above all, it gives us plenty of time to record podcasts for you all and your listening enjoyment. And we hope that you will reward us by visiting Cuba, not you, that we visited Cuba for you. And the history lessons and, the food that we had to endure to eat, getting lost, and you would just repay our struggle and sacrifice by leaving a review, making a comment, sharing this with your friends, giving us 5 stars. I don't know. Subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Whatever it is that you feel like you can do to keep us going, motivated, and excited so that we can go do even more dumb shit and share it with you in damn near real time.
I agree.
Thanks
5
for
stars.
listening. Day 2. Hopefully we make it through the party, scene tomorrow, the wild and crazy scene tomorrow.
I hope we don't get lost coming home again.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Either way, we'll tell you all about it the next time. Thanks for listening. Special thanks goes out to all my friends and family who didn't hear about this trip, who are probably shitting their pants hearing about it. We're fine. We're safe. I love you. I just don't want to tell you ahead of time because, I also have warriors in my family besides Sue, and I don't want them, shitting blood for the next 7 days while we're over here thinking that we're locked up in some Cuban prison instead of an endless row of apartments that we cannot see
Yeah.
differentiate from one to another. So, and special thanks goes out to Megan for taking care of the animals back home. You know, I've got a lot of head of cattle and livestock, mainly 3 worthless dogs that she takes care of. So it's always nice to be able to leave them in good hands, if you will, and see part of the world. And we're going to have a great time here regardless. One of the best things you could ever do for yourself is buy a ticket to someplace you've never been and just go fucking explore. Because you're going to have stories and you're going to experience something. And if nothing else, if it sucks 100% donkey dick, when you go home, you're going to be so thankful for the things like you take for granted.
So many things.
Yeah. We're going to make a list for sure.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening. I think we did pretty good on this one, Sue, but we'll try to do better next time
We
for the
always
people.
will.
And we'll see you then, hopefully, unless we get lost in Cuba, in which case, Viva la Revolucion one more time.